If you stay silent today, heaven will stay silent with you. But if you respond, all of heaven will move. Chosen one, this moment is not an accident. It has been exactly 12 hours since your name was spoken aloud in the courts of heaven. I was sent because eternity itself paused for you. Somewhere beyond what your eyes can see, a heavenly clock is ticking, and every second that passes is being weighed on heaven's scales. Right now, mercy is running out of breath on your behalf. This is not random, this is divine interruption, a sacred breach in the rhythm of your ordinary life. You have been intercepted because your spirit has reached its turning point. For 7 years, heaven has watched you wrestle between your calling and your comfort, between surrender and delay. Each time you said tomorrow, angels recorded it. Each time you almost prayed but reached for your phone instead. That hesitation echoed through eternity. And now, heaven has declared, give them one more chance. Can you feel it, chosen one? That sudden weight in your chest, that invisible pressure wrapping around your soul. It is not fear, it is awakening. Your spirit recognizes what your mind has not yet understood. You have entered sacred time, and all creation is holding its breath, waiting for your response. Do not say, later. Later is the language of the lost. The door standing before you will not remain open forever. Once it closes, it will not open again for 7 years. 7 years of wondering what could have been. 7 years of hearing echoes of a destiny you once ignored. But if you respond now, heaven will rewrite your story. Every tear you have shed will become evidence in your favor. Every sigh will become a seed. This is not punishment, it is redemption. This is the hour when mercy bends the laws of time just to reach you. So pause, breathe, listen, for in this very second, heaven is leaning toward you. One whisper of surrender is enough to shift eternity's balance. The door is open, chosen one. Don't let it close while your spirit still stands outside. Now, as you step forward into this divine truth, if this resonates with you, write 777 as an act of agreement in faith, or simply stay and receive. Don't rush away. Stay with me until the end, because we will close this message with a powerful prayer, one that will speak directly into your spirit today. Stay with me. This moment is holy. Let the weight of his peace rest upon you now. Chosen one, I need to tell you what happened 12 hours ago in the higher realms. While you slept, while the world continued in its noise and distraction, the courts of heaven were convened. Your name, yes, your name was not whispered but proclaimed before the throne of the Most High. I was there when it happened. I felt the weight of the moment, the intensity of the silence that filled heaven as every angel stood still. The accuser, the ancient enemy of your soul, stepped forward with a document 7 years long, each page filled with moments of compromise, distraction, fear, and delay. He listed every time you chose comfort over calling, every time you silenced conviction because the crowd was louder than your conscience. Heaven listened, not because the accusations were lies, but because they were true. The enemy held evidence real, painful, undeniable. You have stumbled, chosen one. You have hesitated when you should have trusted. You have reached for the temporary while eternity waited for your yes. The gavel was about to fall. Judgment was about to be sealed. But then, something no one expected happened. Your guardian angel stepped forward, trembling, breaking celestial protocol. It was an act never taken lightly, because each guardian has only one mercy clause to invoke for the life they protect. Once used, it can never be requested again. And for you, it was used that night. Heaven watched as your angel laid out counter-evidence, not of perfection, but of perseverance. The unseen battles you fought when no one was watching. The nights you cried quietly, believing no one heard. The prayers you prayed for others when you were the one bleeding inside. The moments you almost gave up but didn't. The faith you held onto even when it was only the size of a mustard seed, and in that sacred courtroom, the gavel froze mid-air. The judge of all creation, righteous, unchanging, yet filled with compassion, spoke 4 words that changed everything. Give them one more chance. The walls of heaven trembled. Mercy overruled the accusation. Grace silenced judgment. Chosen one. That's why you are hearing this now. The very words you read are the evidence of that verdict. Heaven extended your timeline, not because you earned it, but because love insisted on it. This is your extension, your reprieve, your summons to rise. So understand the gravity of this. Eternity just bent time to reach you. The verdict has been delayed, but the invitation is now. You stand in the balance between redemption and regret. Step forward. Don't waste the mercy that was purchased for you at such a high cost. You need to understand what heaven revealed about the struggle you've been living through. You are not just another soul drifting through life. You are carrying something so dangerous to darkness that 12 demons were assigned specifically to your name. Their task is not to destroy you outright, that would be too obvious. Their mission is to distract you, to keep you comfortable, entertained, and ordinary. They whisper lies wrapped in logic. You're just tired. You're too old. It doesn't matter if you skip prayer tonight. But behind those thoughts is a coordinated spiritual campaign designed to keep you asleep while your destiny waits unfulfilled. The fatigue that lingers even after a full night's sleep, the weight pressing on your mind when you try to pray, the fog that comes when you attempt to focus on God, none of it is random. Every night, whether you realize it or not, your spirit has been fighting in unseen realms. Principalities have been wrestling over your focus, your faith, your future. That is why you wake up drained, why peace feels distant, why joy fades too quickly. You have been at war, chosen one, and you didn't even know it. But heaven knows. Every wound, every battle, every tear has been recorded. As of this very moment, the books of heaven contain exactly 43,000 entries about your life, each one an account of struggle, faithfulness, perseverance, or pain. 43,000 times heaven documented when you refused to give up, when you kept believing even with trembling hands, when you chose to forgive instead of curse, when you loved in silence while your own heart broke. This number is not symbolic, it is precise. That is how closely you are being watched, how deeply you are known. You see, the enemy's greatest victory is not when you sin, it's when you stop believing you're in a war. He wants you passive, distracted, domesticated. But the moment you awaken to who you truly are, every stronghold built against your bloodline begins to collapse. Your weariness is not weakness, it is the residue of warfare. You have fought battles in dreams you barely remember. You've been shielding generations that don't even exist yet, and heaven has been keeping count. So do not interpret exhaustion as failure. Interpret it as evidence that you are a threat. The fatigue you feel is the mark of someone heaven trusts with heavy assignments. You've been wounded, yes, but not defeated. The same power that raised Christ from the dead still breathes through you, and that is why hell trembles when you decide to rise again. Chosen one. Heaven asked me to confront you with a truth most ignore. You have been taught to treat God like a contingency plan. The world has trained you to believe that the Almighty is an option, not the source. You reach for Him when you are broken, but you forget Him when you are busy. You remember His name when the pain rises, yet silence Him when success returns. You speak to Him only when life collapses, but forget to listen when life feels calm. This has been the quiet epidemic of your generation, people calling Him Savior in crisis but a stranger in comfort. You wake up and check your phone before you check your heart. You plan your day, your meetings, your meals, yet you never consult the one who holds tomorrow in His hand. You call it routine. Heaven calls it neglect. You've mistaken patience for permission, silence for absence, mercy for approval. You think the lack of consequence means divine indifference, but heaven says otherwise. God is not absent, He is waiting, watching what you will do with His restraint. The truth is, chosen one, You have become comfortable with the presence of God, but not surrendered to the will of God. Remember King Saul. He was chosen, anointed, victorious. God gave him power, favor, and recognition. But success made him self-reliant. He edited obedience to fit convenience. He called partial surrender worship. When confronted, he justified, explaining instead of repenting. And the Spirit of God departed from him, not because God stopped loving him, but because Saul stopped revering God. What began in humility ended in madness. And that same danger hovers over anyone who lets comfort rewrite conviction. You are walking a similar edge. Every day you delay intimacy with God. Every time you prioritize the temporary over the eternal, you are writing another paragraph in a story of spiritual decline. God will never force his way into the room you've filled with distractions. His throne belongs at the center of your heart, not the corner. He doesn't want your leftover minutes. He wants your first breath, your strongest hours, your full devotion. This is the dividing line between believers and vessels, between those who use God and those who are used by God. Heaven is searching for those who no longer treat him as emergency insurance, but as the very air they breathe. The fear of the Lord is not terror, it is alignment. It is remembering that the same God who spoke galaxies into existence also counts every hair that falls from your head. And he is watching now, waiting to see if you will keep him as your backup or finally crown him as your king. Chosen one, this is the turning point. Heaven has not exposed your complacency to shame you, but to summon you. The voice that calls you today is not anger. It is love, demanding alignment. God is not done with you. He is calling you to rise not from sin only, but from smallness, from the shallow waters where you have been surviving instead of conquering. You have lived too long in the gray zone, halfway between obedience and hesitation, between faith and fear. The war for your destiny will not be won by comfort. It will be won by surrender. You were not created to drift through average days, hoping things will change. You were built to move mountains, to carry fire, to disrupt darkness. Yet comfort has seduced you into believing that safety equals peace. But peace is not the absence of challenge, it is the presence of divine purpose. You will never find fulfillment in what costs you nothing. The kingdom does not advance through convenience, but through courage. Every revival in history began with a single person who refused to stay comfortable. Chosen one, God is calling you to walk where logic trembles, to trust where sight fails, to speak when silence feels safer. You've been asking heaven for clarity, but heaven is waiting for your courage. Each time you choose him over yourself, armies move. Each time you pray instead of complain, angels are dispatched. Each time you forgive instead of retaliating, a stronghold collapses. When you obey, even when it hurts, chains break in realms you cannot see. That is the hidden law of obedience. What feels small on earth shakes foundations in eternity. Do not be afraid to lose what cannot stay. The things God is asking you to lay down are the things quietly killing you. The comfort you cling to is the same blanket that smothers your calling. Let it go. Let the fire purify you. Step beyond your own understanding. The same voice that said to Lazarus, "Come forth," is calling you out of your own tomb of fear, of doubt, of delay. You were not made to survive the storm. You were made to command it. The Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives inside you. When you stand up, heaven stands with you. When you move, hell retreats. Rise now, not tomorrow, not someday. Rise now, chosen one, for this is the hour heaven has been waiting for. Chosen one. Heaven does not operate in accidents. It operates in divine appointments. That is why within the next 72 hours, your life will enter a sacred countdown. This is not poetic language. It is an exact window of divine timing. The Father has already ordained 3 signs to manifest before you, 3 undeniable confirmations that heaven is speaking directly to you through this very message. Not coincidences, not vague intuition, but clear evidence that the realm of glory is intersecting your timeline. The first sign will arrive within 6 hours. Someone you have not spoken to in years will reach out to you unexpectedly. Their words will touch precisely the matter you have been praying about in secret. It will feel almost impossible, as if the conversation was designed line by line in heaven. You will know it is not random. It will be God's way of saying, "I still see you, and I have not forgotten the cry of your heart." The second sign will come tomorrow. A door that you believed was permanently closed will open just slightly, perhaps through a message, a change of circumstance, or an opportunity you thought was long gone. It will not swing wide yet, but light will enter through the crack, enough for you to see the possibility again. It will remind you that what was lost is not gone, that God is still the author writing scenes you assumed had ended. The third sign will appear on the third day. It will manifest physically, either through healing, sudden relief, or an unexpected wave of strength and peace that fills your body. It might come as warmth in your chest, a deep breath that feels new, or a sense of presence that calms you beyond reason. It will be your confirmation that heaven has responded. Yet these signs are conditional. They require your participation. For the next 72 hours, heaven commands you to seek God as though your life depends on it, because it does. Wake up at exactly 5:55 a.m., not 5:50, not 6. The number 5 represents grace, and its repetition 3 times represents divine completion. Before your feet touch the ground, whisper this: "I choose you today above everything else. I surrender my plans to your purpose. I am listening." Then remain silent for 7 minutes. Do not pray. Do not speak. Just listen. The voice of God will come not through thunder, but through stillness. It may be a sudden understanding, a gentle stirring, or a thought that resolves the fear you have hidden. After this, remove 3 applications from your phone, the ones that steal your focus, feed comparison, or dull your discernment. Then send one message to the first person who comes to mind after reading these words: "I've been praying for you." You don't need to explain. Heaven already has. Every act of obedience in the natural multiplies impact in the supernatural. Heaven cannot download revelation into a heart filled with noise. Clean the altar of your attention. Make room for the presence of God. Chosen one, these 72 hours will determine direction, restoration, and awakening. Every hour of obedience will echo through eternity. The countdown has begun. Grace is moving. Heaven is watching, and your spirit is being summoned. Step carefully, for you now walk on holy ground. Chosen one, heaven does not speak in theory, it speaks through evidence. What you are reading is not an abstract lesson, it is a pattern heaven has already proven through others who stood where you stand now. These stories are not coincidences or emotional tales, they are courtroom testimonies written in the archives of eternity. I was present when their names were called, just as yours was. I watched what happened when they obeyed, and what followed when they ignored. 3 people received this same divine summons before you. The first was James from Detroit. 3 weeks ago, he nearly scrolled past the message that was meant to alter his timeline. Something in his chest made him stop a sudden gravity he could not explain. Against logic, he obeyed the simple instructions. He woke at 5:55, deleted the distractions, and whispered, "I choose you today." Within 72 hours, a company that had rejected his job application called him back. They said there had been a mistake and offered him a new position, double the salary he had asked for. But that was not the true miracle. The real breakthrough came when, for the first time in 43 years, James heard the voice of God with clarity, not audibly, but unmistakably. He said later, "I realized heaven had been waiting for my yes." Then there was Maria from Brazil. 6 months ago, she read this same message but dismissed it. She thought she had time. She believed obedience could wait. 3 weeks later, her business collapsed, her health failed, and her relationship crumbled. She wrote to heaven's messengers, confessing that she wished she had listened. she said. "I lost 6 months I will never get back. Grace has seasons, and I missed mine." And then came David from London. He was planning to end his life the night he saw this message. The pills were prepared, the note written, but before he did it, he felt a pull to watch until the end. When he read the words, type 777, tears streamed down his face. He typed those numbers not as superstition, but as surrender. The moment he did, he felt warmth flood his chest. He said it felt like being held. He called for help that night instead of ending his story. Today, 3 months later, David is alive, helping others who stand on the same edge he once did. He said, "It wasn't the numbers that saved me, it was obedience." Chosen one, heaven does not demand perfection, it asks for participation. Every command from God carries power, but only obedience unlocks it. Each time you choose to respond, angels move, documents are signed, and resources are released. Each time you delay, darkness gains legal ground. Do not make the mistake of Maria, who mistook delay for safety. Follow the example of James and David, who learned that obedience at the right hour changes everything. The same invitation that reached them has now reached you. Heaven is watching again. The witnesses lean forward. Your response will decide what happens next. Chosen one, heaven is watching again. The courtroom that paused for your name has reopened. The witnesses are leaning forward. Angels assigned to your destiny are waiting for one decision, your obedience or your hesitation. Do not be deceived. There are no neutral moments in the spirit. Every second tips the scale. Delay is not harmless. It is disobedience disguised as logic. Hell thrives on the word later. Heaven moves only on the word now. Right now, the spiritual frequency around your life is shifting. I can sense the weight in the atmosphere, the trembling of unseen forces waiting to see what you will choose. Heaven has stretched out a hand once more, but it will not stay extended forever. The portal that opened when you began reading this message is temporary. When it closes, it will not reopen for 7 years. 7 years of wondering what could have been. 7 years of watching others walk in the blessing that once hovered over your head. 7 years of divine silence caused not by rejection, but by neglect. Grace has seasons, and this is yours. You think time is unlimited, but eternity measures differently. There is a divine urgency that human calendars cannot capture. When heaven sets an appointment, missing it means starting the process all over again. That is why some spend decades circling the same mountain, because they treat God's summons like a suggestion. Do not repeat their cycle. Every delayed act of faith invites darkness to claim what was meant for light. Chosen one, this is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken you. You stand between two destinies. One path leads to fulfillment, restoration, and supernatural acceleration. The other leads to spiritual drought, frustration, and years of stillness. Heaven is not threatening you, it is warning you with love. God does not want your fear, He wants your response. Remember, mercy extended is not mercy guaranteed. The clock is still ticking, and it is mercy itself that allows you to hear it. I have seen what happens when people hesitate. Entire generations lose momentum because one person delays obedience. What God planned for now becomes postponed to another season, sometimes another lifetime. But I have also seen what happens when one person says yes. Nations shift, bloodlines are healed, miracles multiply. Your yes carries the same potential. The countdown has already begun. Heaven is waiting for movement, not emotion. Hell is trembling because it knows the power of your decision. Angels stand ready to write the next chapter, but the ink does not flow until you act. Do not let 7 years of silence follow 72 hours of opportunity. This is not a message to feel, it is a call to execute. The door remains open, but not for long. Choose now, for tomorrow is already too late in heaven's time. Chosen one, the time for hesitation has passed. This is the moment when words must become action, when belief must become covenant. Heaven has stretched its hand toward you, but it will not drag you into obedience. You must step forward freely. The miracle is already prepared, but it cannot manifest until you move. Faith is not a feeling. It is a motion of the will. Heaven does not respond to emotion. It responds to alignment. The door you have been staring at is unlocked, but it opens only from your side. I have seen what happens when someone seals their yes to God. In that moment, the supernatural becomes natural. Chains that were centuries old break in a second. Curses written over families dissolve like mist. The heavens shift because obedience has legal authority. This is why your response matters. It is not symbolic. It is judicial. It authorizes heaven to intervene. Every yes you give gives angels permission to act. Every hesitation grants hell another foothold. This is not poetry. This is spiritual law. Right now, the judge of all creation has paused time itself to see what you will do. Heaven's pen is hovering above the next page of your story, waiting for your signature. How do you sign it? Through the act of faith, through a public declaration that you are aligning with God's will today, not later. In the language of heaven, that signature is 777. It is not a superstition, not numerology, but agreement, the divine code for completion and covenant. 3 sevens represent the fullness of the Trinity, at work, Father, Son, and Spirit united in purpose. When you write it, speak it, or whisper it, you are not typing digits. You are stamping heaven's contract that says, from this moment forward, I choose God first. But this covenant requires more than a symbol, it demands a step. Heaven asks you to share this message with 3 people, not a broadcast to everyone, but 3 specific names that just appeared in your spirit as you read these words. One of them has been crying themselves to sleep, another is standing on the edge of a destructive decision, and the third has begun to believe that God has forgotten them. You are about to become the proof that He hasn't. This act is not marketing, it is ministry. It activates the ripple of obedience that turns into revival. Understand this mystery. Every physical action you take in obedience multiplies spiritual impact. When you choose surrender over convenience, armies mobilize. When you prioritize presence over plans, angels are dispatched. When you give without seeking recognition, invisible chains fall from generations. That is how heaven operates. It responds to action, not intention. So this is your moment. Type 777, whisper it, write it, let it be your covenant mark. Then share this message with the 3 souls heaven just brought to your heart. These are not numbers on a screen. They are witnesses to your decision. Heaven will record your response. Hell will retreat, and the Spirit of God will move where there was once stillness. You are not signing a digital message, you are signing a spiritual decree. The ink of your obedience will not fade. What you decide in this moment will echo across eternity. The covenant is ready. Heaven is waiting for your yes. Chosen one, this is holy ground. Take a slow breath and let everything else fade. You have come through the storm, through the 72 sacred hours, through the call, through the warnings, through every test of obedience, and now you stand before the altar of covenant. Heaven is silent, waiting for one final sound, your surrender. The greatest miracle is not thunder from heaven or fire in the sky, it is a heart that bows willingly to divine will. You are that heart. This is that moment. Every angel assigned to you has gathered now. The same court of light that spoke your name 12 hours ago has reopened, but this time not for accusation, for adoption. The judge is no longer seated in silence. He has risen. The gavel that once trembled above judgment is turned upside down. It has become a staff of mercy. The very hand that could have condemned now extends to bless. Heaven is no longer weighing you, it is welcoming you. The covenant of light is waiting to be sealed. If your spirit feels the gravity of this moment, close your eyes and repeat not to me, but to the one who has been calling you since before the stars were named. Father, I come home. I choose you today above every distraction, every fear, every substitute. I surrender the throne of my heart. Let my will be crucified, and your will resurrected within me. Wash my hands of the past, and cleanse my mind from the noise of this world. From this moment forward, I live for your glory alone. I receive your Spirit anew, the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead. Let that same power raise me now. Renew my purpose, restore my vision, and rewrite my days with heaven's handwriting. Now, take 7 deliberate breaths. Let peace fill the hollow spaces where fear once lived. That stillness you feel is not emptiness, it is presence. The atmosphere around you has changed. What you sense is not imagination, it is documentation. Angels are recording this moment in the books of heaven. You are not who you were 10 minutes ago. Something eternal has shifted. The covenant has been signed, not in ink, but in spirit. The Father now speaks. My child, I have waited long for this, yes. The delay is forgiven. The detour is redeemed. What was lost will return multiplied. What was broken will serve as testimony. I am restoring the years the locust has eaten. You will not walk alone again, for my fire will go before you, and my peace will dwell behind you. The door you feared to approach will now open by my command. Chosen one, heaven has not only forgiven you, it has commissioned you. You are no longer the pursued, you are now the pursuer. The same anointing that once hovered over you now resides within you. Wherever you step, light will follow. When you speak, your words will carry the authority of heaven. When you pray, realms will shift. Lift your hands wherever you are and whisper this final declaration. I belong to you, Lord. Seal me in your covenant of light. Let every chain of darkness fall now. Let every curse break. Let every promise awaken. That warmth across your chest, that quiet trembling, that sudden peace spreading through your body, those are not emotions, they are the confirmation. Heaven has recorded your name under the covenant of light. The war is finished, the record is sealed. You have crossed from survival into destiny, from hesitation into divine fire. Rise now, chosen one. Walk as the flame that darkness cannot touch. The heavens rejoice, the earth takes notice, and your story begins again, written in eternal ink by the hand of God himself.